Okay, so with Jermayne Lole flipping his commitment from the University of Oklahoma to the University of Texas, which we talked about yesterday, so we're not going to dive into that a whole lot here. But I want to ask the question, and we're going to kind of look into it a little bit. What's next for Oklahoma in the transfer portal on the defensive line? Is there any options for them to potentially go after? And what could that mean for the room that's currently here? We're going to talk about it. But before we do that, I need you to join the discussion, jump down in the comments below, and give me your thoughts, your opinions, not only on Lole flipping from Oklahoma to the University of Texas, but I want to hear what you guys think of if you think there's any targets Oklahoma can go after. And I want to hear kind of what you think about the class and the transfer portal class Oklahoma's put together. Thank you guys for tuning into the PG show where we talk about all things Oklahoma athletics. All right, so let's talk about what Todd Bates or Brenton Venables and this staff could potentially do in the transfer portal, because you've obviously lost a couple guys, so you've whittled down your numbers. Maybe you're just a little under the limit now. Could Oklahoma potentially be going after anybody? And there's been a couple names that have been thrown out there. If you guys remember Suggs, the guy that Florida State was after, I believe he's taken visits out to USC. He's dropped the top school list. Oklahoma wasn't in it, obviously. You would imagine Todd Bates and the staff will kick the tires around on him, but I don't know if he is a guy that we necessarily need or absolutely desirably want, because I think Oklahoma is trying to address really big defensive linemen in the transfer portal. And I believe you're probably at least looking to take one more guy to add additional depth there. But there is one guy that kind of intrigues me a little bit. And this one's Brandon Lane Jr. And by now, I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen that, hey, he is on campus for the University of Oklahoma. Put it out on his Instagram. And you might not be familiar with this name. And you might be saying, well, who is he? Well, Brandon Lane Jr. started his career out at South Dakota State. Then he went to Stephen F. Austin. Well, here's what he's done in his previous year at Stephen F. Austin. 44 total tackles, 16 solos, 6.5 tackles for loss. He had, let's see here, 1.5 sacks, 1 fumble recovery. He had 1 QB hurry. So probably not your Dominic Williams numbers, right? But Brandon Lane Jr. was kind of thinking about it. I said, okay, I think there's a spot for him to be able to come in and be a really good rotational piece for Oklahoma. And I think if you're Oklahoma, that's what you're looking for. I don't think you're looking for a starter in the transfer portal at this point. I mean, unless somebody just phenomenal hops in, I don't think that's what you're looking for. But if you could find somebody that can come in and kind of run with your 2s or run with your 3s, you're absolutely going to take that. And early indication is things are probably sitting pretty well for Oklahoma and Brandon Lane Jr. So we'll have to kind of see how that unfolds, see how that develops a little bit. But I was kind of looking through the 2024 transfer portal on just the defensive linemen in total. I mean, you could go after the kid from Wyoming that I think a lot of people are going after right now. But other than that, I really don't think there's a whole lot of prospects Oklahoma could be targeting. I mean, you got Jason Harris from Marshall. If you guys remember, Marshall had a pretty good defense at one point last year, but he's an edge guy, 252, 6'7". Like, I don't think he's a big enough body to be able to warrant taking him and putting him on the inside. And you definitely don't need any more edge guys. Funny enough, if you guys remember Danny Sahili, was at BYU. Well, he just transferred back to Arkansas. So there's that one as well. Not sure there's a whole lot of defensive line takes. Now, obviously, I think there's one more position that I think you could potentially take another player again, but this is if somebody pops up. I think Oklahoma likes the room that they have now. I think you kind of know who your starters are going to be in this room, but you could be looking at it and saying, well, we need a couple more depth pieces, and that's going to be the offensive line. Now, as I previously said, I don't know if there's a whole lot of people that the staff really like here, Gino Vandemark is it's an option. He's back in the portal. I mean, he still, I think, has predictions maybe from the last time that he was in the portal to end up here at Oklahoma. But this is one of those options where he's probably going to have to be a preferred walk on, which I think a lot of these guys through the portal are trying to. I would assume bring in as walk-ons, not waste a scholarship, especially if you're spending NIL dollars on them, just because they're not. If they're graduate transfers, they don't have to live on campus either. So I think it would be easier to just give them a preferred walk-on status. And in reality, in today's NIL era, I don't think the scholarship versus the walk-on really matters a ton in terms of status outside of just the school, because if you're on scholarship and you're an undergrad, you have to live on campus in the dorms. It makes it a little bit cheaper for the school. So Gino Vandemark is an option. I'm not sold on it. That was a wild ride when he was in the transfer portal the first time. So if he ends up in Oklahoma again, I think he is a plug and play dude, and I think he could help be an answer potentially on the starting offensive line at the guard spot specifically. I just don't know if Bill Bedenbaugh really pursues him that hard. I think it would literally take Gino being like, hey, like, I'm going to come to Oklahoma. But then you have to wonder, like, if Spencer Brown's not getting the run that Spencer thought he would get, right? As he kind of told Gino, hey, like, maybe Oklahoma's not the destination for you, because this is not where their offensive line was depleted and they're just trying to find somebody to plug and play. Like, they're still trying to find the best player, even if it was guys in their room. And we all know Hito Zaida has been an absolute monster at the left guard spot, and that's a guy that I expect to be a starting left guard for Oklahoma. Then you have Fabichi Wewu on the right guard spot. So for Gino to be able to come in and take a guard spot from one of those two, I think that would mean one of those two would have had to catastrophically fall off of the radar for Bill Bedenbaugh, or gotten hurt. And, I don't think that's going to happen for either one of them. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Not a lot going on in the transfer portal. I think the name you have to watch is Brandon Lane Jr. And if that pops, I think it's going to pop pretty quickly because he is on campus. And I just don't expect Brandon Lane Jr. to leave campus. And I don't think a lot of other people do either. So if he ends up committing, you'll see it pop pretty quickly. I don't think this is one that's going to drag out too long. Interesting to note, he's from Kansas City, Lee Summit, Missouri. So, maybe you can get another Lee Summit kid on campus. I know y'all ain't going to feel good about that, but, it's how it is sometimes. Guys, if you have not already, make sure you hit that like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Join the discussion. Jump down in the comments below. Give me your thoughts and your opinions. Hey, until next time.